I am going to go against Eatsy. Before you freak out and say, "Oh, this is another one of these," I'm quitting Eatsy. It's not. This video is gonna be. It's like a cross between maybe an exit strategy and a quiet protest. We're going to see how things go. But I think if you followed me for a while, you know I've been getting more and more annoyed at Etsy, and something just the other day it's just sort of tipped me into a bit of anger to make a change. Now, I'm not asking anyone else to join me in this. If they want to, it'd be great, but this is not going to be like an Etsy strike or whatever else. It's just here's sort of the final straw that Etsy done that's really, really annoyed me. Am I overreacting? Most likely, yes. I think I'm going to make another video about why everybody's overreacting, how to deal with that. Am I overreacting? Quite likely. But has it inspired me to what is hopefully a goodish idea that'll help me feel like I'm standing out without selling my soul? Okay, let's go into this a little bit and why it's made me madder than it should and what I'm going to do about it. And yeah, if you decide to follow along and do something similar, that would be great. But if you don't, it's fine too. I'm not telling anybody how to do anything just now. This is just me. Right. Let's stop waffling. This is going to be a very disjointed video, let me tell you. I was going to script it and then I thought, no, Pam, just come and talk. And just as I was setting up to record this, I saw another thing that made me even more angry. So the energy is great today. So what was it? Yesterday, Etsy sent, or was it just today? I just got a video for yeah, it was just today. I got an email from Etsy today. Um, an easy way to help turn your customers into repeat shoppers. I knew I wasn't going to like this. Well, I wasn't too mad at this. I just clicked on it randomly to see what they were talking about, if we're perfectly honest. I wasn't even mad. I was just chill. I was just looking. And I scrolled down and one of my listings, as they always do, picked out. Fair enough. Nice. Great. Keep them coming back. Make sure recent customers keep your shop top of mind when you create a coupon and mark it as send a thank you. We'll automatically send it to your customers after you dispatch their order. 25% of repeat purchases to the same shop on Etsy are made during a sale or with a shop coupon. So it could be just the thing to keep them coming back again and again. So straight away, this made me angry for a very simple reason, for wording. But I've got more angry about this later. But let me explain first of all. Let me explain a bit about me first of all. So before this life, I was actually an industrial chemist, pretty much a chemical engineer, which means I dealt a lot in numbers. We would run experiments and have tons of data and deal a lot in numbers. And I'm aware, I don't know who did the quote to start with, but lies, damn lies, and statistics. I am well aware you can get numbers to say what you want them to say without lying. And that is because a lot of people don't read fully what they're being presented when they're given numbers, and a lot of people don't necessarily understand what the numbers mean. You see that all the time in sort of medical claims, just saying things like, oh, if you do this, it'll increase your chance of getting this illness by 40%. What they don't tell you is you've got a vanishingly small chance of getting that condition. So if you increase or decrease your chance of getting that condition, it's still vanishingly small. That's like going from 1 in a million to 1.1 in a million. It's not it's statistically significant, but it's not something that is actually going to move the needle. And so this already, people will skim read this and say, a lot of people will think, I'm losing 25% of my sales. I could have 25% more sales by doing this thing. But it's not saying you've got 25% chance of increasing your sales, increasing your repeat customers, even. What it is saying, 25% of repeat purchases to the same shop are made during a sale or with the shop coupon. Now, I missed the asterisks. I saw that just before I switched on the camera. That's made me even more angry. But, so, are made during a sale or with a shop coupon. Now, firstly, I didn't know the time period for this, that this is a different thing. So I thought, well, if we're talking during a sale, how many shops and listings are on sale at any given time? I don't even know. But how many are on sale at any given time? It's a lot because Etsy pushes for that. And not only that, we're talking about repeat purchases. So somebody who's already made a sale. So there's someone at my door that my dog's letting me know about. That's me back. I got a teeny tiny comb for brushing my needle felted sculptures. Absolutely random. Anyway, I told you this was going to be a disjointed video. I thought about stopping and recording again, but decided not to because, hey, this is real life. So, okay, 25% of repeat purchases are made during a sale or with a shop coupon. How many people are pushing a shop coupon because Etsy tells them to do it all the time? And we know when Etsy sends out something saying you should do this, people assume they will be kicked out of search if they don't do the thing. They assume they have to do the thing that Etsy is telling them. Now, that's not everybody, but a big chunk of people just click all the buttons Etsy tells them to. So there's people sending coupons. There's also people sending coupons because it's a good idea. Fair enough. If that's your strategy, that's absolutely fine. How many people have their shop on sale? I do not know. Yeah, I don't know how many people at any given time have their shop or their listings on sale, but also how many sales are made to listings that are on sale because Etsy pushes that. You're seeing that up in the search and everything. Etsy has been, wherever they continually say they're not trying to be like Temu, and then they push sales all of the time. There are many, many shops literally breaking the law because they don't know any better. I actually had this, I can't remember where I was talking about something just online, and someone had said something about, they put their price up to that so they can keep a sale all the time. And I'd said, look, you maybe want to check that that's probably against the law. And I'm sorry, it was clearly an American. I didn't have to check. I did check afterwards to make sure I wasn't being unnecessarily racist. It was an American. Now, it's not all Americans. I have many American friends who I love, but I think we all know that there are this one. So I feel bad saying this, but anyway, basically they snapped back at me straight away, and it's like, I would not like it if the government, I would not like to live in a country where the government interferes with my pricing strategy. Here we're free. And I was like, maybe you want to check the laws in your land. Most countries around the world have laws against deceptive sales practices. That's to protect the consumer. We're all consumers at some point in our life. We want, if something says it's on sale, we want that to really mean something. So most countries have a law that is similar to, for an item to be on sale, it has to have been at the full price for an appreciable amount of time. There's slightly different things for can't do words today. There's slightly different things for introductory offers and things like that. But in general, in most countries, it is going to be illegal for you to have a sale all the time. But people feel they have to have a sale all the time. So long story short, Etsy has been pushing people to have sales and to have coupons, and they push these shops. And not only that, it's like if you send out a coupon, that puts your shop at top of mind for the person. They see that thing, they have an extra message, they're like, oh yeah, maybe I'll do that thing. So, and you're going to say, well, Pam, why are you complaining about that strategy? Well, Etsy, let us have decent mailing lists, or let us do other things so we can be front of mind for the customer, rather than just go, oh, you bought from me, so here we go, let's give you discounts. Rambling again, I'm aware. So yeah, basically a lot of things will be on sale at any given time. People will get alerts that a shop they favorited or a shop they purchased from is on sale. Etsy is pushing sales and coupons. So to say 25% of repeat purchases to the same shop are made during a sale or with a coupon doesn't say necessarily that you wouldn't have got the sale without that. It might have been the nudge that the person needed. It might be the case that loads of people have it. It's not telling you what most people will think it is telling them. So that annoyed me. And then I noticed the little asterisks here. I thought, oh, what are the conditions? Are they going to tell us the time period or what they're talking about there? And I scrolled down, and based on analysis comparing the same shop repeat purchases rate data from January to December 2020, did something happen in the world in 2020 that might have made any kind of purchase analysis kind of pointless because everybody's behavior was different? So, all right, I'm going to just let you tell me, right? You tell me here. Do you trust the numbers of being told you are likely to do really well with something because when a thing was done in 2020 it was good? Do you base your sales practices on what happened in 2020? Anyway, so that made me extra unhappy. But like, if this is a strategy that works for you, that is great. But while being mad at this, I had a thinking. That how sustainable is it long term to rely on getting seen by constantly having to have sales and discounts? So, firstly, that would mean I would have to put up all my prices. And now, putting up prices is not a bad thing if it's necessary, if it's relevant, if you need to, raw materials, cost of living, all that, great. Or if you need to, because your shop is built up to such a level that it's only sustainable to do that. But to build up your prices in the hopes of being able to run sales as the only way to get seen is kind of offensive to your good customers. You are being a lying shop now, in my opinion. So I thought, this is not a strategy that I want. And also, then it means if I'm branching out to other places, what is that saying? Because even at times when I've sold in like real shops and things, they look at the price that you can buy my items elsewhere. They're not doing a big markup. They're saying if someone can buy it on Etsy for this kind of price, I want them to be able to buy it in my shop for this kind of price. So this means now everywhere else is going to price for that. If I have other places, I mean, your own website, yes, it could be a selling point to be able to say, get it cheaper on my website. But it makes the strategy difficult, or it forces you to have this kind of massive sales strategy across all of your platforms now. So that makes that a difficult thing also. So I decided that, and also, by the way, these coupons and things, they only go out to people who've opted in, because you can't spam people. People have to opt into a mailing list. So these kind of things only go to people who have opted in for these kind of things. So it's not going to everybody. So, a return coupon thingy, you are still ripping off. So it's not reaching all of your customers. If you wanted to do something like that, you could put a little note in your packaging. Just saying. um, so I decided I don't want to be involved in the race to the bottom. I want to make a feature of the fact. I don't want people. I spoke about this a long time ago. What I used to do in the past is everybody knew I wasn't going to have a sale. So I'm just going to tie that more into my branding to say, I'm figuring out how to word it, but it is like a protest against Etsy forcing handmade sellers to try and compete with AI slop and all fast fashion and all things like this. Handmade sellers are being forced into unethical practices. So I'm going to stand firm and tell my buyers, here's the reason I'm not doing the thing. You're not going to get sales or discounts. The only discount I have that I've always had is if you buy, like if you buy one sculpture, it's that price. If you buy two sculptures, it's that price. If you buy five, it's that price. That's fine. Buying in bulk, yeah, absolutely makes sense to me. But anything else, no, I price fairly, and you don't have to wait for Black Friday because my items are going to be at that same fair price. So I just decided to go and have a look what I was doing in my shop, and I realized I had been testing abandoned baskets last year. That's the only offers I've got going. So, oh, and I've got a free shipping if people buy over £100 worth of things. For me, that just made sense because at that kind of price point, I can add the extra. I can choose to add the extras to the shipping, to make sure I'm getting it tracked and everything. Although, yeah, shipping's changed anyway. But that's the only other thing is if you buy enough, it's free shipping. For me, that works because if people are buying multiple items or a big order, I have a little more wriggle room to do free shipping. I'm going to keep that one. But this abandoned basket, so it's in your stats, shopper stats. Abandoned baskets, here's your sale thing. Promo code come back. So this is a targeted offer that people have been getting. In the whole of last year, it was used 5 times. 16 emails were sent. Now, yeah, that's better than the 25% that Etsy says. Just saying. But, well, I don't know how much return customers came back that didn't get sent the email or didn't use it, or what. I haven't been through and looked at all of that data yet. I'm not overly bothered. I recognize my return customers. Some of them come back from like 10 years ago. But anyway, so 5 times it was used, and there was a revenue of over $200. So am I going to lose that $200? Well, possibly. We'll see. But anyway, what I'm going to do is stop sending offers. There we go. That's it gone. Let's just make sure I've got no more. Abandoned baskets, no setup. Thank you. Setup. Yep. No sales. I've got nothing going on. So that is it. That I'm going to figure out ways to talk about it, to say, this is my very quiet protest, but I am against these kind of scammy practices on both ends. It's scammy for your customers, for you to constantly be on sale, or having sales so often that your legitimate price is not legitimate. it's scammy for sellers to be forced to try and compete with everybody doing this, and to be constantly bombarded with emails telling them they have to do this with numbers that seem to make sense but don't say what they're saying, especially when it's from 2020. God's sake, Etsy. Um, anyway, so yeah, I hope that makes sense. That's my quiet protest. So anyone who wants to can join me. I am going to make it a feature in my shop and in some of my social media that is something I'm doing. I think anyone who's followed me for a little while will know I've been against all these scammy discounts and everything. I'm not against people having a sale or something, but having the sale that they want to have for the reasons they want to have. But currently, my stand against this kind of sales nonsense is I am not going to have sales. For 2026 and hopefully beyond, my shop, Ben McFuzzy Lugs, if anyone wants to know, this is not an advertising thing anyway, but for 2026, just to keep me accountable so you can go and have a look. For 2026, I'm not going to have any sales. Oh, and I nearly forgot. Oh, yeah, we're talking about well, it doesn't work. I thought of this earlier. I'm being an idiot. I thought of this earlier and I was going to say for that 25%, it doesn't work. But one thing, people might look and say, oh, yeah, these targeted offers really do work. There was a glitch at the end of last year where Etsy was automatically sending and applying these targeted offers to people who didn't qualify for them. So buyers were using the targeted offers automatically. So there's another thing. Etsy isn't using that in their stats because they're talking about 2020. They're talking about 2020, but people might look back at their stats and say last year, yeah, this absolutely really worked. Yeah, if coupons are automatically applied by mistake to people that they shouldn't be being applied to, then if you go into your stats and look at how many were applied. Anyway, right. You don't have to be with me. If you're with me, let me know. If you're not, if I'm wrong, let me know as well. I had an angry. That's all I can say. So that is